What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Nothing is as easy to enjoy as a Sunday full of football and a fridge full of beer, but these are the games we're locking in on. Starting with the Cowboys at the Bills. The point total for this one, guys, 50.5 right now. The Bills favored by 2 points. Matthew, we'll start with this. What's the concern level for Stefon Diggs after 3 bad games in 4 weeks? Usually Mr. Reliable, but not over the last month.
Under 7 fantasy points in 3 of the past 4 games. He's had an under 50% catch rate in the last 3, playing just 80% of the snaps in 2 of the last 3. That's his lowest rate of the season, excluding blowouts. So, yeah, there's absolutely a lot of concern in terms of Stefon Diggs. Having said that, just like we were talking about last segment with Denny in terms of, whether it's Zay Jones or Zach Moss, the kind of usage he gets, it's hard to bench. It's hard to go away from it. Like, since Joe Brady took over as the offensive coordinator, Stefon Diggs has a 26.3% target share, okay? He's had double-digit targets in back-to-back weeks, and it's a decent matchup as the Cowboys over the last month have allowed these 7th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So I get it, in terms of he had been great. I have Diggs on a lot of teams, and it's been tough sledding. But this is going to sound insane, but I'm going to go with me for 1 second here. Fantasy football, ultimately, it is a game we play for fun. This is something it's more fun when you win, but it is an enjoyment. It is something that we do as a hobby, something we do as an enjoyment. So the mental aspect of fantasy football, I think, is important. And I just think mentally, if you bench Stefon Diggs in a playoff weekend and he goes off and you lose, you're going to feel like a moron. But if you start him and he doesn't do anything, what are you going to do? With Stefon Diggs, of course you start him. I honestly think just the mental, it's something we play for fun. For whatever it's worth, I have Stefon Diggs in a decent amount of leagues. I'm starting him in every single one. I get it. He has been bad recently, but I'm banking on talent of him, talent of Josh Allen, and the target share here.
And Jay, how about the game script of this? I mean, it's against the MVP right now in Dak Prescott, a high-powered passing offense, and the Bills are going to be in possibly a shootout as both defenses has some depth problems at corner, especially Buffalo right now too. But Dallas does in a way at times.
Absolutely. And I think the underrated thing about this game too is that 4 Cowboys yesterday showed up on the injury report with illness. 3 of them were DMPs, including Stephon Gilmore, who would be Diggs' matchup. And I'm stealing this from a guy on Twitter called Consolation Goal. He's very smart. He's one of the best follows in terms of just gambling Twitter. And he has a theory that you should bet against the team basically when there is a contagion within the team, with the theory that, okay, even the guys who do play are probably feeling a little bit unwell too. So I think there is a chance that the Cowboys just come out a little bit flat after this massive game against the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Seems to be illness going through the team. And I think that guys like Stefon Diggs and the Bills passing game take advantage.
I know, I'll just tell you this. I know a lot. I've said this. I said this earlier. That I like the under at 50.5 in this one. I think that number is too high. I think you've got 2 defenses. Then you play to your point, 2 defenses that play pretty well. This is an important game for the Bills. This is a must-win for Buffalo. And I know a lot of sharp bettors like Bills -2.
Yep, it jumped from it was -1 for a time. Now it's -2.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our next game here, guys, your Commanders, Matthew, against the Rams. The Rams favored by 6.5. Another point total at 50.5 here, Jay. We talked about Brian Robinson's hamstring issues right now. He has not been practicing this week. Assuming he's out, do you start Antonio Gibson?
I think if Brian Robinson can't go, then you have to start Antonio Gibson, just with what else is on that team, the fact that he is such a PPR merchant, and he's in a game where the total is north of 50, and you just expect that they are going to be in a throw script to keep up with a Rams offense that really is a top 5 offense in the NFL right now, Matthew.
Yeah, you're seeing footage right here. It's always nice to see good Commanders footage. There's not a lot of it, but here you see Sam Howell just finding Antonio Gibson in the flat, finding him on routes. He's, over the last 2 years, he's in every game in which he's seen double-digit touches, and if Brian Robinson's out, you would expect at least 10 touches for Antonio Gibson. He's averaging almost 13 fantasy points per game, so very viable as an RB2 in this one. To your point, again, game script should work in Antonio Gibson's favor. We don't expect Brian Robinson to play here as well. In every game in which Gibson has played at least 46% of the snaps, he's gotten at least 5 targets. So, yeah, give me Antonio Gibson as a viable RB2, assuming Brian Robinson is out.
Our last game, guys, the Eagles 3.5-point favorites traveling all the way to Seattle. The over-under in this one is 48.5 points. We got to hear from Nick Sirianni on the passing attack being all about, of course, A.J. Brown, Devonte Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Take a listen here.
Passing game runs through three guys. That doesn't mean we don't want to get the ball to some other guys here and there, but the main passing game goes through those guys. The Cowboys and the style of defense they run, which is obviously a very good defense, allows you to, kind of get the ball to the, to where we were going with it, and that's where the ball was designed to go. It has nothing to do with anything else. Just we wanted to get AJ going. We wanted to get Devonte and Dallas the ball, and every plan is thought of through that.
Last week, guys, 28 targets went around to skilled players in the Philadelphia offense. 27 of them went to A.J. Brown, Devonte Smith, and Dallas Goedert. So, Matthew, I'll ask you this. With Dallas Goedert back, are you still all in on Devonte Smith being able to get it done?
All in is a little excessive. I will say I do have Devonte Smith as a top 20 play this week. It's not a matchup that scares you against Seattle as well. And last week, he had a 35% target share, Devonte Smith. He's had double-digit targets in back-to-back games for the first time in his career. And what's significant is that was with Dallas Goedert back. And so the fact that they made a point of getting Devonte Smith the ball, that he looked good, that he was being able to be productive, even with Goedert out there. And so in this game where we expect a lot of points to be scored, and the Seahawks defense has struggled recently, I have Devonte Smith as a top 20 play.
Yep, no, I agree there. And it's still, even with the return of Goedert, it's just so concentrated to those three guys, as your stat pointed out, Connor. And it's not like there are guys like, is it going to be Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup this week who gets more targets? Like, it is really just those three guys. And the other thing, too, is that I would say the only real next-level player on the Seahawks defense right now is Devin Witherspoon.
Yep.
And he's been injured, and it's unclear if he's going to be able to go on Monday. I also think that for Devonte Smith, honestly, the fact that Geno Smith looks like he's going to play, that is good news for him.
I agree.
Because it creates more of a chance for a bit more of a throwing script and a shootout type of game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as I was trying to think about my best bet for last week's Cowboys-Eagles game for Football Night in America, and I ended up going with Jake Ferguson anytime touchdown, didn't cash. He did get the end zone look, he just couldn't hold on to the ball. But one of the ones that I was playing with was Quez Watkins under 11.5 receiving yards. And I just couldn't, it's all you need is one. And so I just, but that cashed. So anyway, you're right, it is. It's literally this, it's those three guys, and then maybe they throw something to Julio or Zacchaeus or Quez. But, anyway, I just didn't have the balls to do it on national TV where I'm going to be I'm taking, my best bet is Quez Watkins under 11.5.
That's also
on Football Night in America, which I should have.
It's also just a bad play because that is the type of thing that could get you really put on blast publicly, where if Quez Watkins catches an 80-yard bomb, it gets tweeted out that Matthew Berry said on national TV that under 11.5.
Take that, Matthew Berry.
All that goes into, if I get this wrong, how bad's the embarrassment factor?
Right.
How bad am I going to get roasted on Twitter, or on social media? Yeah. So
listen, I would always take overs because the overs can always hit.
They can always hit.
And also, I do think that disproportionately, it is easier to take advantage of the market not understanding usage increases and matchups and being able to take overs often. Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, what was great was even though my best bet didn't cash, my parlay last week did. I'm 2 in a row on the parlays. So we're starting to get hot at the right time.
There you go.
That'll
and
do
by the way,
it.
And we're 10 on the best bets. I think we're 10-3 on the season. So it's still plus money.
Not
in
bad.
A big way. Yeah, pretty good.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. We're taking one more break. When we're back, it's last call here at the Happy Hour Bar. We got pickup lines, as we always do on Fridays, for Matthew.